An agency in the South End is trying a new approach to breaking the cycle of poverty. The strategy involves one-on-one coaching to help parents and caregivers make headway in training, employment, finances, and new connections to resources. To tell us about the initiative are the CEO of United South End Settlements, Maicharia, Weir, Lytle, and its coaching manager, Valdes. Thank you both very much for being with us.
Thank you.
Maicharia, what you're doing here, it sounds like something that fits in with the long-time mission of settlement houses, but how is this different?
That's a really great point. First of all, thank you for having us here today. So USCS went through a strategic planning process about a year and a half ago, and what that allowed us to do is deepen our roots in the settlement house movement and extract from that where we see we can have the greatest impact. And so this idea of bringing people together from our diverse neighborhood and helping to disrupt the cycle of poverty for families is something that definitely dates back to our early beginnings. How it's different is that we're taking an approach that is more relevant to today of one-on-one coaching, supporting the entire family, and combining that with all of our programs that is focused on the children. So we offer early childhood education, out of school time, we have a sleepover camp in New Hampshire, and job training for parents, as well as what we're calling the glue of all of this is our coaching work.
Melody, I imagine one of the things you've got to do with parents or other caregivers is give them some confidence, don't you?
Yeah, so that's one of the things that I've been with United South End Settlements for 9 years. I actually started in our youth programs, and when I taught in our early childhood education program, I saw the need to support the parents as we were working with the kids. And part of that support is to empower the parents, for them to feel like they were able, like they were capable, because that carried on to the way that the children view themselves. So I think a lot about coaching is not so much about the outcomes, but it's based on the process and really making sure that parents feel empowered.
Melody, Maicharia, it's easy to think of poverty as something just about money if you don't have enough and there's nothing you can do about it. But how do you get beyond that to saying there's something that can be done starting within the family?
Absolutely. And it's exactly what Melody talked about and you mentioned around building that confidence and instilling hope in people, which allows folks to persevere and start to organize themselves. So much of the coaching model is taking the assets and the resources many of our families already have. They've gotten to this point, they've navigated very complicated systems already, and now what it is that we do is help them really organize themselves, set some goals, and then make steps towards getting towards those goals.
Melody, you have people identify strengths. What does that usually mean?
So I had a coaching participant come into the office last week, and she was sitting across from me, and she was telling me the story of her life and kind of how she ended up in the situation that she was in. And she was saying, you know, I've been homeless, and then I had a home, and then I lost my home. And at some point I looked at her and I was like, but you've been able to overcome all of these things and get to where you are today. And then she had this like aha moment, and she was like, that's true. I can do it. I know how to do it. Now it's just about starting over, but I've done it before. So it's about that moment, that realization of, oh, I have the tools, I have the skills. In coaching, we call it you're creative, resourceful, and whole. And I think that's where we're coming from when we're dealing with our parents.
This is BNN News, and we're talking with Maicharia, Weir, Lytle, and Melody Valdes from United South End Settlements. Maicharia, another notion of poverty is that it's about dealing with one crisis after another and not having time for anything else. How do you break out of that?
Again, I think one of the things that USCS is trying to do and what we've been successful in is being a support to families. So as Melody just mentioned, when someone's facing a crisis, sometimes they don't have the resources or the social capital, the network of people they can turn to, but they are able to turn to United South End Settlements. They're able to turn to people like Melody, some of the other families in the program, to get that support and really help give them the strength and the confidence to be able to move forward, see clearly how they might tackle the problem that's in front of them. So that's a really key component that we take a look at, is building that social capital around the families that are coming to us so they're not alone.
What about that capital, Melody? What kind of things could that mean?
In terms of the social capital, we are piloting a group coaching model where we really want to focus on the sharing of resources and strengths amongst our participants. So it's about coming from, we all have things that we're really good at, and we all have things that we might need a little bit of help on. So it's about coming together, having these conversations, setting goals, and then looking at each other and seeing how they can support each other through the process.
What's that like, Maicharia? Because you have people who are struggling separately with poverty, and they're talking with other people going through that. How does that help them?
Well, number one, it makes you realize you're not alone. And I think so often, I mean, if we think about any problems or challenges that we have faced, knowing that somebody else has been through this, done that, might be going through it, I think that gives you a sense of, okay, I'm not alone. I don't need to be ashamed of where I'm at, and let me ask for some help. And I think that's a really important piece of what the group coaching model allows us to do.
Melody, of course, one of the goals here is to look at the ripple effect on the children. Have you seen anything as this has been playing out?
I've had a lot of my participants come back to me and say how they're even utilizing coaching techniques as a way to parent. Coaching is all around asking powerful questions and really tapping at the strengths of the participants. So one of my coaching participants mentioned that now when she is talking to her child, she's not dictating what they have to do, but she's asking for them to kind of come up with solutions and to also see that as a parent, they're doing better. They feel like they have goals, they have dreams. The children feel motivated and they are like, Mom is working on this, now you can do this. And then they have conversations around finances, which sometimes can be really hard for parents to share with their children because they don't want to put that burden. But when it becomes a family goal, I think everybody takes part of the discussion of the outcome. And then kids are learning money management skills and things that before they wouldn't have necessarily access to.
Maicharia, another thing you're trying to do here is create more stability for the children to the extent that a parent or caregiver can control that. What does that usually mean?
Again, as we're thinking about people who are struggling to make ends meet, so much of what happens is just having enough bandwidth to deal with the stress that any of us might have raising children. And so part of the support systems is also to build off what Melody said, is so that mom and or dad are in a place where they can handle some of the challenges that their children might be going through themselves. They can be better caregivers, being able to talk with their teachers and showing up to the meetings that might need to happen between the teachers and the parents. And so, so much of this is about building capacity and the resources. And for children, they're directly benefiting from that because mom is no longer as stressed out as she once was. And they're able to pay attention to the child, maybe offer reading and doing the 30 minutes of reading every night because other things in the life have started to get under control. So that's how all of this really fits into this whole family model that we're really focused on.
Well, sure, I know this is an informative stage, but if people want to find out more, maybe take part in some way, is there a way they can follow up?
Absolutely. I mean, contacting Melody is one way, but being able to go to our website, you can find information about all of our programs on our website, and that is www.uscs.org.
Thank you both very much. Maicharia, Weir, Lytle, and Melody Valdes. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.